From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. First, the headlines. Mass shootings in U.S. leave at least 18 dead over a weekend. First Hajj pilgrims from outside Saudi Arabia in 2 years arrive. Iran faces censure amid stalled nuclear talks. Kuwaiti shops remove Indian products. 784,000 articles show Western media anti-Muslim bias over 20 years. Disqualified for running in a hijab, athlete turns pain into action. And our top story tonight. At least 18 people were killed and 57 others injured in weekend mass shootings across the U.S., according to data from a monitor published Monday. The Gun Violence Archive Research Group documented 10 mass shootings from Saturday through Sunday. The shootings occurred in 8 states, including Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Most casualties were reported in Philadelphia, where 3 people were killed and 12 injured after gunmen opened fire in the South Street neighborhood Saturday. Police believe the shooting stemmed from a fight nearby, recorded by bystander video. No suspects have been taken into custody. More than 45,000 flowers were left around the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to remember victims of gun violence and inspire the courage to act. The event was held by the Giffords, an organization dedicated to saving lives from gun violence. According to the group, the over 45,000 flowers represent Americans who died from gun violence in 2020. The Gun Violence Memorial is open for public viewing until Saturday, June 11th. Hajj pilgrims from Indonesia have landed in the city of Medina, from where they will travel to the holy city of Mecca. It is the first batch of pilgrims from outside the kingdom after 2 years of restrictions due to the coronavirus pandemic, state media reported. Saudi Arabia last month announced it would allow 1 million people from within and outside the kingdom to perform Hajj. The pilgrimage will take place in July. Last year, there were about 60,000 pilgrims and less than 1,000 performed Hajj in 2020. Typically, the annual pilgrimage draws about 2.5 million people to Mecca. That's how many people participated in 2019, the last Hajj before the coronavirus outbreak. Pilgrims from the United States, Canada, Australia, and other Western countries face a new hurdle. Saudi Arabia's Hajj ministry confirmed on Monday that pilgrims from Europe, America, and Australia need to apply via its Mutawif website, and said pilgrims would find out if they had gained a place via an automated lottery. The ministry advised prospective pilgrims to request refunds from tour operators and travel agents. Prospective pilgrims will now have to apply through the website and, once approved, book their flights and hotels directly with the Saudi government. Major European countries and the US could seek to censure Iran as the UN atomic watchdog convenes talks on Monday to revive the stalled 2015 nuclear deal. A resolution drafted by the US, Britain, France, and Germany is a sign of their growing impatience. Diplomats warn the window to save the landmark agreement is closing. The International Atomic Energy Agency's Board of Governors meets through Friday in Vienna. If the resolution urging Iran to cooperate fully with the IAEA is adopted, it will be the first motion censuring Iran since June 2020. Talks to revive the accord started in April 2021 with the aim of bringing the US back into the deal, lifting sanctions, and getting Iran to scale back its nuclear program. Muslim and Christian leaders condemned an attack on the Catholic Church of St. Francis in Ovo, in which more than 50 people were killed on Sunday. The attack occurred during Pentecost Sunday Mass and was carried out by unknown gunmen. Muslim rights concern condemned this act of unprovoked aggression. The Islamic group called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the attackers. The group said that the church attack is evidence of the existence of Boko Haram in the southwest region. Boko Haram terrorists have penetrated into Niger and Kogi states, the group said. Faith leaders are seeking protection from churches and mosques in the region. In related news, Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum offered an open door to armed extremist fighters wishing to repent during a visit to the southwest of the country. 42 former Boko Haram members have completed a de-radicalization and professional training course in southeast Niger, authorities said. They left the Gadumari Training Center Monday in Difa region near the Nigerian border, a municipal official said. They were equipped with tools to set up their own mechanics, plumbing, carpentry, sewing, or welding businesses, authorities said. Trainees also followed a course on practicing Islam and were made to swear on a copy of the Quran that they would not resort to violence. Niger is the poorest country in the world according to the UN's Human Development Index. Groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS have carried out massacres in the west of the country. Meanwhile, extremists associated with Nigeria's Boko Haram and Daesh have conducted attacks in the southeast. On Monday, Ceremonies in Canada marked the first anniversary of the terrorist attack that killed 4 members of a Muslim family. The events in London, Ontario, where the attack occurred, were particularly poignant. On June 6, 2021, a man driving a vehicle deliberately struck the Afzal family, killing the parents, a daughter, as well as a grandmother, and orphaning a 9-year-old boy. Law enforcement officials said that the crime was anti-Muslim and hate-oriented. One of the many vigils was at the scene where the vehicle ran down the family as they were out for a Sunday evening walk. It was organized by the friends of Yumna Afzal, the 15-year-old girl who was killed along with her father Salman, mother Madiha, and grandmother Talat. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and others spoke at one ceremony in London. He called the killings a brutal, cowardly, and brazen attack of terrorist violence. Kuwaiti shops are removing Indian product details after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Imam Malik Mujahid. Brothers and sisters, we all watch the Allahu Akbar lady from India. She's amazing, isn't she? She's neither compromising her hijab nor her education. She's standing tall. We must stand with her. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect her. But it is not just hijab, brothers and sisters. Indian Muslims are facing genocide.
Genocide that we face in India is not a new phenomenon. India has had several genocides.
They are attacked every day. Even the Indian government admits there has been more than 1,800 organized attacks on Muslims, but they call it riot. 660 people are hanged to death in India, lynched in broad daylight, sometimes just because they were accused of eating beef. Yes, accusation of eating beef can kill a human being in India. We cannot remain silent, can we? Alhamdulillah, OIC has spoken, that is good, but why in the World United Nations is silent? The UN has a responsibility to protect. It has a duty to prevent genocide. Sisters and brothers, we must stand with Indian Muslims and other minorities. We are free, they are not. We are not attacked, they are under attack day and night. Let's do our job. I have signed this UN petition. I ask you to sign it now. Thank you so much.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Assalamu alaikum! Open up your eyes.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's your brother Zain Bika from South Africa. One of the first educational programs ever produced for Muslim children was the ever popular Adam's World series. The colorful and comical Muslim puppets stole the heart of a generation. Sound Vision will be releasing brand new episodes of Adam's World with the launch of a Adam's World app. Subscribers will enjoy new Adam's World episodes as they are released, as well as all the classic episodes of Adam's World. So visit adamsworldapp.com now to learn more, subscribe and enjoy new adventures of Adam and his friends. And let's keep helping tomorrow's Muslims today. Assalamu alaikum.
Adam's World. Believe me, there's a lot to see. Bismillah. Let's explore.
To stop this genocide, we need your help.
Welcome back. Superstores in Kuwait removed Indian products from their shelves after insulting remarks about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by an official in India's ruling party, the BJP. The comments have prompted calls on social media to boycott Indian goods. On Sunday, Gulf countries condemned the Islamophobic remarks made by Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson Nupur Sharma. Sharma later tweeted that she's withdrawing her statement about the Prophet if her words cause discomfort or hurt religious feelings of anyone. Rights groups are calling for her arrest for causing communal tensions. As anger spread over the comments, various Middle Eastern countries summoned New Delhi's envoy. The UAE is the latest to condemn the remarks. UAE's foreign ministry underlined the need for respecting religious symbols and countering hate speech. Its state news agency, WAM, reported. The body of a Victorian woman who became an inspiration for British Muslims a century after her death lies in an unmarked grave in Anfield Cemetery in Liverpool, England. Fatima Elizabeth Kate was a domestic violence survivor who converted to Islam and traveled to the Middle East with 2 other women in the late 1890s. Her faith and pioneering role at England's first mosque made her the subject of harassment. People hurled stones at her or smeared horse manure on her face as she left the house of worship that later became Liverpool's Register Office. Fatima was a pioneer in that community as the Liverpool Muslim Institute's first treasurer in 1889, said Ron Jeeves, a former professor of religion at Liverpool Hope University. In the last few years, she has become an iconic figure for British Muslims, particularly women and converts. Muslims have lived in Britain since the time when the British Empire included more than half the world's Muslim population by the 1920s. Isa Akayev just wants to return home to Crimea. That's what drove the 57-year-old to build his Muslim volunteer unit and fight for Ukraine. When Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, Akayev moved to Kiev and formed the Crimea Battalion. The small unit is dominated by Crimean Tatars, the Muslim Turkic group indigenous to the Black Sea Peninsula. After Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, his 50-member unit took part in battles around the Kiev region. The men are now seeking to be deployed to the southern front to fight in the Kherson region bordering Crimea. Much of the Kherson region fell under Russian control early in the war. Ukrainian forces have been pushed back more than 60 miles from the peninsula. Political scientists Eric Bleich and Maurits van der Veen found coverage of Muslims is overwhelmingly more negative on average compared to other ethnic groups. The professors analyzed more than 784,000 newspaper articles published over 21 years. They reviewed 256,000 articles from the US and 528,000 from British and Canadian publications from 1996 to 2016. Their research found Muslims systematically are misrepresented more than other groups in the Western press. That leads to anti-Muslim sentiment detrimentally affecting Muslims in Western countries, they concluded. The DUA's findings are reported in an article they penned for Conversation.com. Noor Alexandria Abu Karam was disqualified for wearing a hijab at a track meet in 2019. Her former cross-country coach didn't get a waiver for religious attire ahead of the race as required by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Then 16-year-old Abu Karam felt humiliated until she started sharing her story. Since then, the now 18-year-old has been raising awareness about discrimination in sports through the Let Noor Run campaign. She says it took time before turning her pain into action. Abu Karam says she empowered herself as a hijabi runner and worked towards making sports more inclusive. Her campaign led to legislative changes protecting freedom of religious expression for athletes in Ohio. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
We are Justice for All. Headquartered in the heart of downtown Chicago, Justice for All is a global humanitarian initiative dedicated to raising awareness for human rights concerns impacting vulnerable minority groups. Our diverse team of staff and volunteers, led by Imam Malik Mujahid, work tirelessly to help Justice for All achieve their goals. We promote policies that protect religious freedom, address the root causes of mass displacement, and recognize the plight of refugees and forced migrants. Together, we can continue to stand up for justice. Justice for all.
Welcome back. To discuss the future of the Iran nuclear deal, let's go to Edward Ahmed Mitchell. Over to you, Edward.
Thank you, Hena. And now we move to an important discussion about an international issue that has been dragging on for years, and that is the Iran nuclear deal. Many of you may recall that President Obama and European powers reached an agreement with Iran years ago to limit their nuclear energy program in exchange for relief from sanctions. That deal was successful, and then President Trump took office, withdrew the United States from the deal, and we've seen some ongoing consequences from that. We want to discuss today the status of the deal, the status of negotiations to resurrect the deal, and some of the hiccups along the way. To discuss this now, let's bring on our guest. Yousof Azizi is an expert advanced PhD student in public administration at Virginia Tech, and he has a great deal of expertise in this subject. Mr. Azizi, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. So look, let's start with a little refresher for people. What is the Iran nuclear deal, and what is the current state of the Iran nuclear deal?
That's a perfect question. So, after more than 10 years of tense negotiation between Iran and P5+1, which means the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, United States, Russia, France, China, and England, plus Germany, these countries negotiated with Iran over Iran's nuclear program, which, the world community wants us to make sure that Iran's nuclear program, which would not go diverge to the weaponization. And Iran also wants to get the benefit from the energy, the civil energy and the civil nuclear program. So they reached to the very wonderful and rare deal between these countries, especially United States and Iran, in 2015 during the last years of Obama administration. And the deal was going very perfectly. The IAEA, which means the International Atomic Energy Agency, a watchdog under the United Nations, an agency that monitor almost every country's nuclear program. It is the organization, the third organization, who are monitoring and inspecting the Iran nuclear program to make sure that make its commitment under the deal. And everything was fine until the President Trump came to the office. And, during his campaign in 2016, he promised to, within the withdrawal of the pen, because Iran deal was an executive order. It's not passed. It's not a treaty. It's not passed by the Congress, but Senate. So he promised to, tear it down. And it happened in 2018, in July 2018. And after 1 year, Iranian officials said, okay, we are gradually, step by step, reduce our commitment to the deal. And, after years, Iran also make significant improvement and advancement in nuclear energy, something that under the deal should be take place in, next 20 years. And Iranian right now doing 60% enrichment uranium. They use the advanced centrifuge, and they, spread the whole technology in wide places in Iran, and make it very difficult for Biden administration to easily come back to the table. And the final point here is that the Biden administration and Biden himself, during his campaign 2020, he promised to come back to the deal and bring back United States to the deal as soon as possible. But unfortunately, 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and 4 months after he took the office, still the negotiation happened. And
so where do we stand right now? What are the holdups that are preventing the United States and Iran in particular from reaching a new deal?
Yeah, so Iranian has some requests, and it seems that it's a logical request, because they said that we want some guarantee from United States or the whole international community that the next president of the United States or the next administration, they are not coming out again. And when we all back to the commitment under the deal, we curb our advancement in centrifuge, we reduce our enrichment, we, get rid of all these stuff that we produce right now. But on the other hand, we wanted to make sure that the deal would be, commitment would be committed by United States in the long term, in the next 10, 20 years. So this is one of the questions that Iranian has. And unfortunately, the Biden administration said, okay, because it is not treaty, because the Congress has very a strong and bold position against Iran, so we cannot make it as a treaty with Iran. So any administration, next administration, has the capacity to, withdraw from this executive order. This is one of the problems. The second problem that many mainstream media focuses on that during the Trump administration, he tried to put many barriers for the next administration to come back to the deal. And one of these is that he put one of Iran's military branch, official military branch, IRGC, into the FTO, into the Foreign Terrorist Organization list of United States Secretary of State and Secretary of Treasury. It's the definition of the United States as a terrorist. And this is the only official organization and official army who are in the list, in that list. And Iranian asked United States to, limit and to, withdraw IRGC from that list, because with that, if that's not happened, so the companies, the international companies, European companies, they probably won't come to Iran to make investment and, bring money, bring technology after all of these companies, all of these countries go back to the deal. So there are many issues that Iranian requests from the United States. On the other hand, Biden administration has some other requests. For example, they wanted to make sure that Iran gain more knowledge now in nuclear energy, has more advanced centrifuge, and also recently, as IAEA report, has some places and facilities that previously didn't report to the IAEA. So make all of these under the IAEA investigation. And these are the issues that, the card that every player in this game play with that, strategically play with that.
Yousof, and I could ask you, whenever I hear this long discussion about the details about Iran's program, I'm just reminded that my understanding is Iran is a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Pact, and therefore, like any other nation that is a signatory, has the right to pursue peaceful nuclear energy. Is that correct? And so am I correct in understanding that the strictures, the restrictions being put on Iran are greater than what they are actually required to do under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act?
This is a very, very great point you mentioned, because, Iran is a member of NPT, as you mentioned, and Iran has been a member of NPT since the previous regime, Pahlavi regime, the Shah, the king, the kingdom of Iran, which has very good relation with the United States. And the program in Iran, the nuclear program, started in 1950s with the help of United States as a nuclear peace program by Eisenhower. And during that time, many media and Israelis officials also provided a false accusation against Iran, against Shah, that he wanted to pursue the nuclear bomb. And, he was a member of NPT. The Islamic Republic came into the power in 1979, and they are still in the NPT. And it is interesting that Israel is not a member of NPT. They have nuclear bomb, and no site in Israel is under investigation by IAEA, but Iran is the only country I can say that the number of men investigation, the number of hours of investigation of its nuclear program is more than any countries in the world. The JCPOA making a strong inspection process and mechanism that from 0 to 100 of Iran's nuclear program, from 7 to 24, Iran is under online monitoring with real and the real camera that everything from Iran, from mining to enrichment, from everything under the online monitoring by IAEA. And I heard from experts that the JCPOA is a role model of the countries who wanted to make commitment that they are not pursuing a nuclear bomb. They wanted to have nuclear energy. But on the other hand, as you know, 3 years ago, I think Bibi Netanyahu, he provided some document in the TV that we grabbed and took out from Iran some documents about Iran nuclear energy, that they do some activities without the knowledge of IAEA. And this is the base of current and recent investigation and discussion about Iran nuclear program. Iran said, okay, we are completely fine to that IAEA come and investigate those 3 sites. They wanted to make sure there is no extra extra activity by Iran, but it should be under the complete pack of reviving and restoring JCPOA, because we wanted that JCPOA restored. Everyone put its commitment. We receive our economic benefit from that, and on the other hand, then we let the international inspector to come to the to the Iran and investigate everything they wanted.
Well, it's a great irony with seams. Some people might note that the Israeli government has spent decades saying that Iran is months away from a nuclear weapon, and yet that has not come to pass. And it seems, based on what you're describing, it would be impossible for them to get a nuclear weapon without someone noticing it well in advance. So, final question, where do you see this going from here? It sounds like there's just a level of stubbornness in the negotiations. Where do you see this going from now? You can't see the future, obviously, but what would be your expectation?
This is a good question. And, we are in the election year of the United States, the midterm election. And it is very important for Biden administration to unite the Democrats on many aspects, many issues. And there is no controversy. There is no, counter argument by some member of Democrats in Congress who are funded and who are getting funds from Israeli lobby in the United States for this year's election. So my guess is that the Biden administration wouldn't compromise on the element of this negotiation until the November this year. Probably next year, we hope that there is some kind of compromise by both sides, the Iran and United States, to reach a deal, because, there is no alternative of that. There is no military solution for that. And now European countries, if anyone listened to the Rob Malley's last weekend's hearing at the Senate's Committee on Foreign Relations, the Rob Malley said, who is the special investor of the United States Department of State on Iran. So he said that the European countries pressure United States to solve Iran nuclear program diplomatically, because the Ukraine crisis make it very hard that another crisis, military crisis, happen in the Middle East, and it affect heavily the security of European countries. So my understanding is that there is no alternative other than all of these countries back to the JCPOA. Iranian economy is badly hurt. They try to, as much as getting help from Russia and China to revive their economy, to improve their economy. But we know there is a crisis along in the international order from the COVID-19, from the Ukraine-Russia war, and the high prices in energy and food. So it seems that reviving the JCPOA is the best option for all of the countries that make it this deal in 2015.
Thank you, Yousof. We greatly appreciate you being with us today and your expertise, and we look forward to having you on again to discuss this important and ongoing issue.
Thank you for having me.
Back to you, Hena.
Thank you so much, Edward. That's all from our Washington studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.